Swami Maharaj, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, Gaur Kishore, Bhakti Vinod, Baldev Jagannath, Vishwanath, Narottam, Krishnadas, Raghunath Jeev, Rup Sarup Sanatan, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Ishwarapuri, Nityananda Advaita, Madhvendrapuri, Lakshmipati, Vyas Tirtha, Brahmanya Tirtha, Purushottam, Jayadharma, Rajendra, Vidyanidhi, Dayanidhi, Jnana Sindhu, Jayatirtha, Akshobhya, Madhav, Nrihari, Padmanabh, Madhva, Vyas, Narad, Brahma, Sri Krishna. Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you to Bhakti Vaibhav course. We are studying Srimad Bhagvatam, first canto, and today we will begin with the chapter number 11, Lord Krishna's entrance into Dwarka. So in the last chapter, we discussed about departure of Lord Krishna for Dwarka. And the last verse of the 10th chapter. On his journey through these provinces, he was welcomed, worshipped, and given various presentations. In the evening, in all places, the Lord suspended his journey to perform evening rites. This was regularly observed after sunset. And thus, traveling through so many places as it was described in the verse number 34 and 35th. O Shonaka, the Lord then proceeded towards Kuru Jangala, Panchala, Shurasena, the land on the bank of the river Yamuna, Brahmavarta, Kurukshetra, Masya, Saraswata, the province of the deserts and the land of scanty water. After crossing these provinces, he gradually reached the Sovira and Abhira provinces. Then west of this, reached Dwarka at last. And then, as the Lord Krishna is about to enter the Dwarka city, this chapter will basically describe how Dwarkavasis welcome Lord Sri Krishna. So this chapter has 39 verses. We'll hopefully try to cover at least half of the chapter. That is around 20 verses. And then let's see the remaining 20 verses. We'll see how we can cover up that. Okay, so chapter 11, text number 1. Yeah, who would like to recite? Aruna Soki Mataji, please recite the verse and read the translation as well.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Anartan saupavrajya swadajnana padan swakan dadmaudharavaram tesham vishadam shamayan niva. Prabhuji, translation also?
Yes.
Suta Goswami said, upon reaching the border of its most prosperous metropolis, known as the country of Anarthas, Dwarka, the Lord sounded his auspicious conch shell, heralding his arrival and apparently pacifying the dejection of the inhabitants. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So finally, Lord reached the border of Dwarka and he resounded his conch, Panchajanya, pacifying the dejection of the inhabitants. Prabhupada mentions in the purport why they were dejected. The beloved Lord was away from his own prosperous metropolis of Dwarka for a considerably long period because of the battle of Kurukshetra. And thus all the inhabitants were overcome with melancholia due to the separation. When the Lord descends on the earth, his eternal associates also come with him, just as the entourage of a king accompanies him. Such associates of the Lord are eternally liberated souls, and they cannot bear the separation of the Lord even for a moment because of the intense affection for the Lord. And Prabhupada writes in the last 2-3 lines. So the heralding sound of auspicious conch shell was very encouraging, and apparently the sound pacified their dejection. they were still more aspirant to see the Lord amongst themselves, and all of them became alert to receive him in the befitting manner. And then it will be described in the series of verses how they welcomed him. These are the signs of spontaneous love of Godhead. Wherever your heart is attached, there you will see your efforts to please that person, isn't it? So, because our hearts are attached in the material world, we are trying to please all those who may or may not be connected to the Lord, but because they are connected to us, so we try to please them. And eventually, as we progress on the path of devotional service, increasing our attachment for the Lord, eventually we will also have similar emotions, and we will spontaneously try to love the Lord, not out of force. As you will see ahead, not just sometimes what happens is that if some big dignitary or some important person is coming to your city, you may not be just may not be so much bothered. Only the government is getting ready to welcome, so they will clean the roads. They will try to remove the unnecessary parkings or shops along the roadside, and so many things can be done, and you may not be bothered, right? Because you may not be so much attached to the person, although you are under that government only. But here you will see not only government of Dwarka, but also all the citizens, they were trying to welcome him according to their capacity. You will see as we move ahead. Okay, text number 2. Rakshadevi Mataji, please recite the verse and as well as translation.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
Pranam.
स उच्चकाशे धवलोदरोदरो अपि उरुक्रमस्य शोणशोणिमा दाम्नायमान करकञ्जसम्पुटे यथा व्यर्चखण्डे कथं स उत्तवनः। Translation: The white and fat bowl conch shell, being gripped by the hand of Lord Krishna and sounded by him, appeared to be reddened by the touch of his transcendental lips. It seemed that a white swan was playing in the stream of red lotus flower. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, it's a beautiful analogy to the conch shell being blowed by the Lord. Prabhupada gives beautiful commentary. Prabhupada says in the last 3 or 4 lines of this purport, the ardent love and devotional service to the Lord, or in other words, by spiritual contact with the Lord, everything becomes spiritually reddened like the conch shell in the grip of the Lord. And these next 2 lines are interesting. I mean, Prabhupada's often sometimes is very poetic. And the Paramhamsas, or the spiritually intelligent person, plays the part of the ducking swan in the water of spiritual bliss, eternally decorated by the lotus flower of the Lord's feet. So, this is the position of the devotees of the Lord. They are always drinking the nectar and bliss of the Lord's lotus feet. And of course, in the beginning of the purport, Prabhupada writes that the redness of the white conch shell due to the lip touch of the Lord is a symbol of spiritual significance. The Lord is all spirit and matter is ignorance of the spiritual existence. Actually, there is nothing like matter in spiritual enlightenment. And this spiritual enlightenment takes place at once by the contact of Lord Sri Krishna, as it was happened in case of Dhruva Maharaj also. When Dhruva Maharaj wanted to offer the prayers, small 5-year-old boy, he didn't know what to say. Then Lord simply touched the conch shell on Dhruva's head, And then that 5-year old boy started reciting beautiful philosophical devotional prayers, as it is mentioned in the 4th canto of the Bhagavatam in the Dhruva Maharaj section. So anything that comes in touch with the Lord becomes spiritualized. Right? Text number 3. Venkatesh Avatar, you like to recite the verse and translation?
ओके प्रभु हरे कृष्ण दंडवत प्रणाम
Dandavad.
श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
Jai.
तमा उपश्रुत्य निनदम जगत भय आवहम प्रति उद्ययु प्रजा सर्वा भरतु दर्शन लालसा। The citizen of Dwarka, having heard that sound which threatens fear personified in the material world, began to run towards him fast, just to have a long desired audience with the Lord, who is a protector of all the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so all the devotees, they began to run towards the Lord as soon as they saw him. So here, a beautiful word used by Sutta Goswami. What is that? Jagat bhaya bhayavaham. The fear of material existence. Bhaya avam, the threatening principle. So actually, Sutta Goswami is describing, before that, he used the word urugrame in previous verses. And now he is using word Jagat Bhaya Bhayavaham. This is indicating Sutta Goswami's. Now here see what happens most of the time is the speaker and the hearer of the Bhagavatam, they should be in harmony with each other. They should, sometimes what happens is, especially in case of the professional reciters, sometimes the audience may be genuine. Those who have come to hear Bhagavad Katha, they may be genuine and they are interested. But the Kathakar is not interested in Katha. Actually, he is interested in something else. So in such gatherings, it is difficult to feel the presence of Krishna. Right? But here you will see Sutta Goswami, who is narrating this Katha to the sages of Naimisharanya. Sutta Goswami, he himself is lover of Lord Krishna. All the sages who are assembled there, they are all lovers of Krishna. And the description which is going on, the residents of Dwarka, they are also lovers of Lord Krishna. So when we all are on the same page, then it becomes very easy to move towards one destination. If suppose we all have different purposes and we try to come together, that doesn't happen, isn't it? Because we all have different interests. There cannot be any unity in one purpose. But here you will see Sutta Goswami is glorifying Lord through different words. And Dwarkavasis, they are feeling separation. And they desire to move very quickly towards the Lord. Prabhupada writes, as already explained, the citizens of Dwarka who lived at the time of Lord Krishna's presence, they were all liberated souls who descended there along with the Lord as entourage. Right? And Prabhupada gives the example of all were very anxious to have an audience with the Lord, although because of spiritual contact, they were never separated from the Lord. So this is for us. Like he gives the example of gopis of Vrindavan. They used to think of Krishna while he was away from the village for forwarding engagements. So Prabhupada says many times that the gopis, they would just meditate that now Krishna has gone to the graze the cows and his feet may be getting hurt by thorns, pebbles. What do I know? I mean the meditation, level of meditation. Sometimes what happens, we may remember, but why? Because our sense gratification is hampered. our sense gratification is not happening. That's why we may remember our loved ones. That, oh, if that person was there with me, then I could have enjoyed so much his company, isn't it? So this is the difference between the conditioned soul and liberated souls. They are, these devotees, they are remembering the Lord so that they can serve Him. And we are remembering the Lord so that Lord can serve us. So totally mismatch. In such situations, Krishna would not like to be with us, and that's the reason why Krishna is not there in our japa. Because we are after finishing our japa, not in the mood of serving the japa. That when we are chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, our attitude is, so much I am missing you, Lord, because I want to serve you. Isn't it? Not that this is something, obligation given to me by my spiritual master and I have to somehow complete it. So that's there always, because we have promised our spiritual master. But along with that, our spiritual master also instructed us to develop the love for the Lord, not just official love. But yeah, that's why he says that the citizens of Dwarka were all immersed in thought of the Lord while he was away from Dwarka to attend the battle of Kurukshetra. And that's how they could sustain themselves, because Lord and his presence, remembrance is not different. That's what Prabhupada says in the last purport, last paragraph before above the Mahamantra. Yeah, he says that the sound of the Lord is identical with the Lord, as we have tried to explain by the non-dual position of the Lord. The material existence of our present status is full of fear. What are the fears? 4 fears, he says. Food problem, then house problem. House means basically depends, because we feel protected in our homes. So there can be mental homes as well as physical homes. So this body itself is a home, and then we have another home, physical home, right? So fear of food, defense, then Prabhupada writes there, shelter problem, food problem, shelter problem, fear problem, and mating problem. Out of that, the fear problem gives us more trouble than the others. Why? Prabhupada gives the answer also a little ahead. We are always fearful due to our ignorance of the next problem. What happens is, suppose Prabhupada gives this example many times. Suppose you see in a dream that a tiger is chasing you. Or sometimes, I used to get, nowadays also I get sometimes dreams like, early in the, at the almost around 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. Something like, I'm writing exam and the time is running out. And this is, very important exam. And somehow I'm just trying to write and time is finished. And then my alarm starts ringing. Then I get up. Then I say, oh, no exam, nothing. It was just a dream. So when we are in dream, we are fearful of the illusory situations which are created because of our mental impressions of past actions under the modes of material nature. So similarly, when we are in ignorance, although we are part and parcel of Lord Krishna, and we ourselves are na hanyate hanyamane sharire, we are a spirit soul, we are never destroyed, we are Satchit Ananda, we are full of knowledge, full of bliss and eternity. But that aspect is covered fully because of ignorance. And because of the ignorance, we are feeling I am man, I am woman, I am Indian, I am American, I am this and that. And accordingly, along with these designations, there are fear factors associated with that. So Indian may fear, I mean, one country, a person from one country may fear the person from another country that he may not attack me. Like that, if you go throughout the 84 lakh species, every one of them is fearful because of another species. Especially human beings are mostly fearful for another human being. That may not be the case in case of animals. A tiger is not afraid of another tiger. But humans, we are so sophisticated, so much, learned, educated. But because of not understanding our real position, we have created this situation of ignorance. Prabhupada writes there that the whole material existence is full of problem, and thus the fear problem is always prominent. This is due to our association with the illusory energy of the Lord known as Maya. Now, what is the solution for that? It's as good and as simple as just come out of the dream. So as soon as I wake up, I don't see any examiner, I don't see any exam hall, and I am very much relieved. Oh, this was just a dream. Now let me get ready for Mangala Arati. Let me take bath, let me have tilak, and let me chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So as soon as we come out of the dream, those illusory situations created because of Maya, they will vanish. Just like in case of Dhruva Maharaj also, when he was fighting with Yakshas, these Yakshas, they created illusion through their magics. The pus was falling and different animals, they were falling, different weapons, they were falling from the sky. And Dhruva Maharaj was just completely unable to understand what's happening. And that time, the sages, they reminded Dhruva Maharaj that, oh Dhruva, you please the Lord at your early age by chanting his names. Now just chant the name of Lord Hari, and this Maya will, soon go away. And then he chanted, and took up the Narayan Astra. As soon as he chanted the name of Narayan, all the illusory Maya, of Yakshas disappeared. So similarly, Prabhupada writes here that yet all fear is vanished as soon as there is the sound of the Lord. Why? Krishna Surya Sama Maya Hoya Andhakar. Right? Krishna is like a sun, light, and Maya is like a darkness. So as soon as there is sound, now when we say sound of Lord Krishna's holy name, means Krishna himself. Why? Prabhupada writes, because he has already given in the beginning of this paragraph. The sound of the Lord is identical with the Lord. And then he writes there, last two lines, his holy name. Fear is vanished as soon as there is sound of the Lord, represented by his holy name, as it was sounded by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the following 16 words. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We can take advantage of these sounds and be free from all threatening problems of material existence. Right? So we simply have to come out of the dream which we are going through. Isn't it? We all are in a dream. But this dream is not so easy dream. So there are two types of dreams. One dream that we get in the sleep during night. That may be easier to get out of that dream because we have to get up in the morning. Then that dream is vanished. But this dream which we are going through now in our awakened state is more difficult, to remove. Why? Because of many lifetimes impressions, many lifetimes samskaras that we are identifying with this body, mind, senses, and all that. But as soon as we chant the holy name of the Lord, that Maya will be removed. And then in the 4th and 5th verse, who would like to recite? Is there anybody who is not visible here? Usha Sankari Mataji, are you there?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, please. You would like to read the verse 4 and 5 and then recite the translation as well?
I'll try, Prabhuji.
Yes.
तत्रोपनीत बलयो रवेर्दीपम् इवाद्यतः आत्मारामं पूर्णकामं निजलभेन नित्यदा प्रीति उत्फुल्ल मुखा प्रोचुर हर्षगद्गदगिरा पितरं सर्व सुहृदम् अवितारम् इवर्बकः. Translation: The citizens arrived before the Lord with their respective presentations, offering them to the fully satisfied and self-sufficient one who, by his own potency, incessantly supplies others. These presentations were like the offering of a lamp to the sun. Yet the citizens began to speak in ecstatic language to receive the Lord, just as gods welcome their guardians and father. Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you. Prabhupada, highlights this one word, Atmaram. Supreme Lord Krishna is described here in the Atmaram. He's self-sufficient. And there is no need of him to seek happiness from anything beyond himself. Right? Yet the citizens began to speak in ecstatic language to receive the Lord, just as gods welcome their guardian and father. So Lord Krishna is the supplier of everything to everyone. Right? Just like Prabhupada will give the example of, or the verse itself gives the example. These presentations were like the offering of a lamp to the sun. So this is the actually glory of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Bhagavatam will give, as we have already discussed many times, Bhagavatam will give narration. So this narration was going on in the previous verses, right? In this verse also narration is going on, what's happening. But along with that, there is a very good philosophy also to understand what's really happening. So one thing is, something is happening, but what's really happening? What is the message underlying, those narrations? So because otherwise people, if you just read the storyline, they may misunderstand. And oh, Lord Krishna was also in the need of presentations. He was dependent on them. It's just like any other person who, seeks honor from others. Krishna is not like that. He is fully satisfied within himself. And therefore, to clarify that, Bhagavatam is giving here the understanding of that philosophical truth. And Prabhupada elaborates that in the purport. Prabhupada says that he is all cognizant and all blissful. Therefore, any presentation, however valuable it may be, is not needed by him. Isn't it? He doesn't need. Does he need your food, your water that you daily offer to him? He doesn't need actually. But then what happens? So, but still we offer. Why do we offer? It's something like the example given here is just like the lamp being offered to the sun. Sun is, so luminous. Sun doesn't need a lamp to see. But then what is the credit? The credit is that I offered something. Right? Although it is given by you only, but I took the effort, just like you offer water to the Ganges, taking water from the Ganges. So what's the benefit? Benefit to the Ganges. There is no increase or decrease in the water of Ganges. But still, Gangamai will, give you credit. Okay, you did something for me. So like, a father, Radha Govind Maharajji gives one example. That sometimes what happens that a father, he brings something to the home, some eatable or something, anything. So he may give to his children's. Now he doesn't need because he only brought it, right? He can have it, just he can take it and have it. But he expects that my little child, he will offer something to me. He will say, Papa, you also take it. There is no need for him to, for father that the child should ask him that take something. And he mentions that sometimes Some children, they are so naughty. If father asks, "Better give me something," they will say, "No, I can't. I will not give you." The father is embarrassed. What kind of son he is, especially if the guests are there. So the guest may feel, what kind of training you have given to your son? You're asking something, he's not giving. Though he is just a child now, what will happen if he grows, little ahead, few years after? He will, kick you out of the home. So he said that some children are naughty like that. So these are actually non-devotees. So everything is being supplied by the Lord only. Lord doesn't want, doesn't expect, but just to reciprocate the loving exchanges. The father expects that my child will, give something back to me. Although it is given by father only. Something like that. So there are two things to understand philosophically here. The first is the awareness that Krishna doesn't need anything from us is a fact. And if we understand this, that will bring humility in us. Isn't it? But actually he doesn't need it. So these are two parts. So Lord doesn't need anything. So this is one aspect. And the another aspect is Lord still needs. So let us take first aspect, that Lord doesn't need. If we can realize this and if we can understand this, then it will bring humility in us and remove pride. What happens is, because quite often when we do something, something good, something nice, we feel that we are doing some favor to someone, isn't it? So it's not that you have never done anything to anyone. Throughout the life we are doing something or the other, isn't it? Our life is like that. Always we are doing something to someone. But the problem is we always like to take the credit out of that. We, in fact, try to highlight that. Let's see, I did something for you. And we feel pleasure in that when it is highlighted, when it is glorified. Oh, you did that? Yes, I did. Thank you. So yes, of course, that's the, for a sensible person to recognize that someone is doing something good for him, that's on his part. But from our part, we should not expect that somebody will glorify me for whatever good I am doing. If we feel and if we expect that, then what happens? There is a sense of pride and superiority that I am doing something for you. Actually, who is doing? No, for whom? Nobody is doing for no one. Actually, it's the Supreme Lord who is arranging something through someone, isn't it? We feel that I am doing something. You are not doing anything, Baba. And you will realize that when circumstances will force you in some situations where you are not able to do anything. You have gone through such situations. You may be, feeling that I was the doer. But in some cases, Krishna will help you. I will not say humble you. Krishna will help you to realize that you are not the doer. Krishna will say, I am the doer. See, you tried hard, but you couldn't do anything. And just see, if I desire, within a moment I can get it done. So this is one aspect, of realizing that Krishna doesn't need anything. That will bring humility in us. And we will understand that other person don't need anything. They have everything that whatever they need. That time our focus will shift from being the doer. So most of the time our focus is, oh, I am the doer. I'm the boss. I'm giving. See, this world is designed in such a way that everyone wants to become a boss, isn't it? Nobody wants to become das. But to become devotee, we should get this training that I want to become das. Our counselor in the beginning days of our initial Krishna consciousness, he used to say that everyone wants to become boss on a boss, not das on das. Everyone wants to boss over. But when we realize that actually they doesn't need anything, I am just an instrument, then that time our focus will shift from our doing something as a favor to them. We may feel we are doing favor, but actually not favor. We are just expressing our love through that action. We are not giving anything. It's just the exchange of the emotion and relation. We are trying to feel. Like so, in case now this is in case of the ordinary living beings. Now, in case of Krishna, at same time, that Supreme Lord likes to reciprocate loving relationship with the devotees, and that's why he will, appear as if he is dependent on them. Now, this is also a part of his completeness. Although he will appear as incomplete, this beautiful statement actually. Yeah, what is that? Yeah, in certain relationships, he manifests sense of incompleteness by Yogamaya, so that others can serve him, thereby intensifying reciprocation of loving relationships. Yeah, so he goes to the Yashoda Mai and he says that, "Oh, Mama, I am hungry. Please give me some food." So he's the Supreme Lord. He doesn't need anything. We already discussed it. But why does he go to Yashoda Mai and he appears to be incomplete? So seeming incompleteness of complete, just listen carefully. Otherwise, these words are just, and so seeming incompleteness of complete shows his completeness. So he is complete, Atmaram. But he is appearing as, incomplete to reveal his completeness. Isn't it? Otherwise, God cannot be complete.
Very true.
Yeah, in the sense that if he just, and there is a reason for that also, if he just presents himself as neutral, complete, self-satisfied, then there is no way for a devotee to exchange a relationship or emotion with the Lord. So Lord, by that way, is giving us an opportunity. So just like, today, actually I was, today morning. So our Prabhuji Chaitanya, he was going somewhere. So he was going to airport. So he called me early in the morning, 4 o'clock. So I said, okay. It was, morning. Today is Ekadashi, so I had already planned, okay, I'll chant this many rounds, I'll do this, that. But then he called me. So I went. 4 a.m. till 8:30 a.m. I was just helping him packing his luggage. He was going to some international place. So then I was just discussing with one devotee later in the evening that how my japa got is still pending. Then while discussing, I was just thinking that he may not need that help from me. He may call anybody. He knows many devotees. He may call any other devotee, but he called specifically me. Why? Because not that he needed that, but because it's so many days we are chanting Hare Krishna. What is chanting Hare Krishna? We are asking the service. So we are asking, oh Krishna, please engage me in your service. Please engage me in the service of your devotees. Please give me service. Please give me service. How many Mahamantras our 16 rounds cover? Some 1700 or something like that, no? Or words. Prabhupada is calling here.
16 to 16.
Something like that, some 1,000 names or something, somewhere. Mantras or names, something. So that many times we are calling actually. But when the service comes, that time we are wondering, oh, so today morning, so I didn't go for Mangala. Just before Mangala, they called me. Please come urgently. I thought maybe half an hour, 1 hour maximum. But it went on, and then after that I went to airport also. By the time I came back, it was almost 11 o'clock.
Exactly.
But then what happens? When we read Bhagavatam, when we study Prabhupada's purports, we can realize, what Krishna is giving us. So Krishna is giving us an opportunity to develop relationship with him, and that happens through his devotees, right? So of course he did need that, but he called me so that I'll be, able to develop some relationship with him, because only through service a relationship can be developed. Not that you say, "Oh Prabhuji, I love you," or "Oh Guru Maharaj, I love you so much," and Guru Maharaj will call you. Okay, you love me, please come do his service. You say, no, I don't, not that kind of love. I love you, in a different love that you see in the Bollywood and Hollywood. That love is without service. But the actual love is with service. When we serve, then only we can experience the real, development of relationship. Because relationship is tested only by responsibility and service. If you're not ready to take responsibility, you're not ready to serve, your love will never be tested. Like for the Vrajavasis, that love, love for Krishna was tested for almost for 100 years, more than that. How much they love me? Will they survive without me? Will they keep remembering me? Although I may not be physically present there, but still Vrajavasis they remembered, isn't it? So yes, then in case of the Lord, he will, appear to be incomplete so that we are able to serve him, and then that's how that will give us impetus to serve him. Okay, Krishna is feeling hungry. Okay, Krishna is feeling hot now. Fan him. Krishna is now ready to go to graze the cows. Okay, give him prasad. And all those Vrajavasis, those who are engaged in service of Krishna, this is the reason why they are engaged, because Krishna is appearing as incomplete in front of them, although he is a supreme Lord, and they also, by the grace of Krishna, see, this is the grace of Krishna actually. For us to feel that Lord is dependent on me is the grace of the Lord upon us. This is the highest rasa in the spiritual world. That is given only to very, very intimate devotees. That is not available even in the Vaikuntha. Because in the Vaikuntha planet you feel, oh, that Lord is independent. He's Atmanam, he doesn't need anything. He's Supreme Lord. Just bow down to him. So of course that also is a higher rasa compared to what we are here. We have nothing in front of that. But still the gradations of rasas, if you go ahead more into the Vrindavan, then you will get to see that. So this is the reason, as per the rasa, and as per tattva, it doesn't need. Then that will bring us humility within us, which is the fact. Right? And then verse number 8. Actually, we can read some parts of the purports. The last purport, last paragraph, Prabhupada writes, the Lord is the supreme father of all living beings, and therefore those who are conscious of this vital relation with the Lord can make filial demands from the father. Just like any other child, he has the right to ask father, Father, please give me this, give me that. So similarly, the father is pleased to supply the demands of such obedient sons without bargaining. The Lord is just like a desire tree, and from him everyone can have everything by the causeless mercy of the Lord. But then still, Prabhupada mentions further ahead. As the Supreme Father, the Lord, however, does not supply to a pure devotee what is considered to be a barrier to the discharge of devotional service. Like the verse in the Gita, Ananaschintayantama Bhejana Paripasate Tesham Nityabhyuktanam Yogakshamam Mahamyam. So whatever you lack, I will supply, and whatever you have, I will maintain. That doesn't mean that, okay, you wanted that, I'll give you. No, that doesn't happen. If that is not favorable for your devotional service, that does mean is whatever is favorable for your devotional service, I will maintain that. Whatever not favorable, I will remove that. To understand this import, we have to go through commentaries of Acharyas. Otherwise, we will misunderstand. Okay, Krishna will maintain everything. And eventually Krishna will destroy everything, including your body. At that time you will say, what happened to the Gita? All he is promising throughout Gita, Name Bhakta Pranashati, but what kind of Pranashati? He is not going to protect your body, he is going to protect your soul. He is going to protect your consciousness, which is the eternal, long lasting. The body is temporary. there is no reason to maintain it unless it has any value for devotional service. And like then another example of who was that? Narmada Maharaj, who was a BBT trustee. You must have heard his story. He had the Parkinson disease. He's about to, pass away. He knew that eventually that will happen. So actually, what he did, he stopped all food. And devotees, they told him, Maharaj, please take something. He said that I cannot take anything. Why? Then he gave a very nice answer. He said that when this body was useful for service of Krishna, I was maintaining it. Now this body is no more useful for service of Krishna. Why should I maintain? Now we can't imitate this because we are maintaining this body for something else. But when the Krishna becomes the goal of your life, that time such realization will dawn upon you. That so long I was uselessly maintaining this body, wasting my time unnecessarily. So many anxieties just to maintain our status quo in the material world. But everything was just an illusion, just like a dream. As soon as you wake up, the dream is gone. As soon as the body is destroyed, everything related to the body finished. Nothing will stay with you. Nothing will go with you except your consciousness. Like that. Then, yeah, 6th verse. Now, actually, we'll run out of the time, so we will just read the translations and try to cover up next 30 minutes maybe. Yeah, but still, these verses are very tempting to recite. Especially the 4-line verses, they are very tempting. Yeah, we can recite. Yeah, Vrindavan Lila Mataji, recite the 6th verse along with the translation. You can read.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Dandat Pranam. Natah smate nath sadangri pankajam virincha vairincha surendra vanditam parayanam shemam mityehatam param nayatra kalah prabhavet para prabhu. The citizens said, O Lord, you are worshipped by all demigods like Brahma, the 4 sanas, and even the King of Heaven. You are the ultimate rest for those who are really aspiring to achieve the highest benefit of life. You are the supreme transcendental Lord, and inevitable time cannot exert its influence upon you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. The citizen now, see everywhere these all the devotees in the earlier the Kuru ladies in the previous chapter, now here the Dwarkavasis, they know very well the position of the Lord, but still they are in so much in love with the Lord that they would like to serve Him. So this is actually in spiritual life, a non-devotee can never understand such things. The Lord is Lord, but still he feels hungry. Why? There is a deep philosophy behind this. So of course here demigods, they are worshipping the Lord, as the Dwarkavasis they say, because they know that the Lord is the only person who is beyond the effect of the 3 modes of material nature. They understand his supreme position, powerful position. He is the one who is beyond time. And the one who is beyond time can only, relieve you from the effect of time. You are the supreme transcendental Lord, and inevitable time cannot exert its influence upon you. And that's what in the earlier line it said that those who are really aspiring to achieve the highest benefit of life, they will worship you. You are the ultimate rest for those. What is the ultimate benefit of life? Highest benefit of life? To get freed from the influence of time factor. To get freed from the influence of Maya. Only one who is freed from Maya can free you from Maya. As the Prabhupada says in the Bhagavad Gita purports, that if your hands are tied up with the rope and you are trying to help someone whose hands are also tied with the rope, then who can help whom? Both are just giving false assurance and false promise to each other. That's what the situation of the material world. Every living entity is bound by the three modes of material nature, and he's thinking, I can help him, I can deliver him, I can, do something for him. Nobody can do anything for anyone. They just on the platform of, on the, under the illusion of Maya, they are thinking like that. Only good can be done by the one who is liberated. So of course the Lord is always supremely liberated, but his devotees, they are also able to perform this task. Prabhupada writes in the purport, last 2-3 lines, as soon as we forget this clear fact, we are at once in illusion, and thus we are put into threefold miseries, as one is put into dense darkness. The clear consciousness of the cognizant living being is God consciousness, in which one bows down unto him in all circumstances. As soon as you wake up, the dream is over. And the way to wake up is by reviving our dormant love for the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Right. And then the 7th verse. Yeah. Gandhi Prabhu, you would like, yeah, you recite the verse and Gandhi Prabhu will read the translation.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Bhavayanastvam bhava vishwabhavan त्वमेव माता सुहृत्पतिः पिता त्वं सद्गुरुर्नः परमं च दैवतं यस्यानुवृत्तया कृतनो बभूविमा.
Thank
you, Mataji. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O Creator of the universe, you are our mother, well-wisher, Lord, Father, spiritual master, and worshipable deity. By following you in your footsteps, we have become successful in every respect. We pray, therefore, that you continue to bless us with your mercy. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so here they are mentioning different kinds of roles Krishna is playing, or different kind of relationships Krishna is having. So they are saying that you are our well-wisher, you are our Lord, Father, spiritual master, and our worshipable deity. So among them, some are queens, some are sons, some are daughters, whoever. Different relationships Krishna is having with all of them. By following in your footsteps, we have become successful in every respect. Isn't it? So actually, if we see that in our life, now we may have these relationships among ourselves. So somebody is father, mother, or somebody may acting as a a spiritual master, somebody may be acting as a friend or whatever, different relationships. But actually, in actuality, whatever shelter we are experiencing in those relationships, we experience some shelter in relationships, isn't it? So all the relationships, where is that Mataji? I didn't see her for a long time. The another, I don't remember her name. But in the few earlier classes, she would ask some question. Boycott. Oh, little old.
Vimla Mataji.
Where she is?
Vimla Mataji Prabhuji.
Yeah. Okay, you may ask her. I was remembering her.
Yeah, I'll ask you.
Yes. I was actually remember her yesterday also. When I was asking Usha Mataji to read, I was remembering her because I think both of you are of the same age, more or less. Isn't it? Yeah. Yes. Okay, anyways, different roles. Different roles to play. So whatever shelter we are experiencing in all these relationships, they are actually coming from Krishna. When we forget this fact, we become materially attached with with all those personalities. Actually, one or 2-3 days back, Chetan Chandra was giving class here. Some line I remember randomly. He was saying that we are not the supplier of love, but we are carrier of love. The love which we are searching here in this world, or we maybe sometimes see a mother may try to give some love to the son, or all, any relationships. We are trying to actually have exchange of feelings, emotions, and trying to give some love and seva. He was saying that we are not the source of love, but we are we are not the source of love, but we are carrier of love. Whatever love, which our dependence they are getting is not actually from us. We are just actually becoming, the carrier of love of Krishna. What love we can offer? Unless we become pure in our heart. And even in that condition also, it is the part and parcel of love of Krishna that we are offering to them through us. Because Krishna loves us, and therefore we have some feeling of love within us for others. Isn't it? And that love we are just transferring. Krishna is making us an agent for that. So here also, whatever shelter that we may experience in all our relationship, that is coming from Krishna only. Now you may have heard this verse many of the times. Tameva mata cha pita tameva tameva bandhu sakha tameva. Isn't it? This is Bhagavatam Sloka, right? Yeah, tameva vidya dravinam tameva tameva sarva mama deva deva. Whoever is giving shelter to me is ultimately because of you. Why? Now this is one statement. I'm not reading the translation of that verse, but this is a verse. The devotee is saying to the Lord that you are my mother, father, and everything. So whoever is giving shelter to us, shelter to me, ultimate. Now suppose it appears, right now that I am giving you shelter. Immediate, we are discussing the classes. You may be feeling that okay, I am studying something and presenting something. It appears, but the shelter which I am, providing you, this is possible only because Srila Prabhupada is giving shelter to me, or to all of us rather, isn't it?
Yes.
Or in the broader sense, a mother is able to give shelter to the son. Why? Because mother is getting shelter from the husband, and the husband is getting shelter from the
Lord.
ultimately from far we go, sarva karana karanam. Because Krishna is giving the capacity to that person to develop that shelter, isn't it? So unless Krishna gives the capacity to have to create the shelter, how can we offer the shelter to others? It's only by the grace of Krishna. If your body doesn't support you, if your mind doesn't support you, if your intelligence doesn't support you, what help you can give? And we're always thinking, I am so learned, I am so intelligent, I am so smart, I am this, I am that, I have done this, I'm going to do that. You are not going to do anything unless Krishna personally helps you through different agents, through different mediums. So this is such an important thing to understand, that without the Lord or without the shelter of his pure devotees, we ourselves cannot survive. What to speak of giving shelter to others? To say that I am giving shelter is such an arrogance, actually, such a heavy, huge pride. And because of that pride, we are not able to chant helplessly. Because we don't feel I am helpless. We don't feel I am dependent. We feel I am independent. I am working from morning 5 till 9. I am earning money. So yes, you are earning money, but through whose help? The Venkatesh Prabhu is, wondering, what kind of philosophy is this? We are working so hard, and they want, and these devotees, they want to take all the credit. So if you actually analyze the Bhagavad Gita verse, Karmanyavadikarastu ma phaleshu kadachan, you don't have a right, you don't have a right to to own the fruits of your action. At the same time, you can't do, you can't say that, okay, so the fruit doesn't belong to me, then why should I work? The Krishna doesn't say that if the fruit belongs to me, therefore you should not work. No, you should work. You should work and then offer the fruit to me and think yourself, you are not the doer. See, there is a mystery behind that. Why to do, all such, you will say, this Gita is so difficult to understand. The Krishna is saying, work for me. Now you work, you earn something, and then after that you are not entitled to the fruit of the work. Means what? I worked so, whole day, whole month, whole year I'm working, and you are saying that fruit doesn't belong to you. Give me that fruit. And after I give, fruit back to you, you can't, after that also say that, you have the rights to say that I have worked. Fruit bhi gaya. Now see, actually Krishna is trying to remove your subtle and gross ownership. So gross ownership is immediate result of the fruit. Okay, I earned this. Give me. This is my. This belongs to me. No, Krishna says, give me. This is in gross ownership, and subtle ownership is I did. So I gave to Krishna. I gave. I donated. I served. I worked. No, you didn't work. You still worked, but you didn't work. So again, to understand that, we have to go back to the previous verse, what we discussed. It is only out of affection for the Lord. Lord is appearing to be incomplete, so we are offering him service. Just to develop a relationship with him. So of course, that's a detailed discussion. We will not go into that. But that's how our shelters actually in this world we experience is actually given by the Lord. When we are in understanding of this philosophy, then we can chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Actually, you will hear always Radhanath Maharaj is always emphasizing this verse many times. Why this is so important? Even Kaviraj Goswami says that you should. What does Kaviraj Goswami says? You remember from Chaitanya Charitamrita, a string, the holy name. What does he say? You don't remember any one of you. No. So when you want to chant Hare Krishna, these Hare Krishnas are, small, maybe small flowers compared to 108 flowers. Isn't it? These flowers, you have to string them on the thread of that's the thread. And when you do that, then only your Harinam can go on for long. Because unless you have that immunity like a blade of the grass, whether people respect you or they don't respect. Actually, in that verse, entire philosophy of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam is there. Because Mahaprabhu has given everything in a condensed form. Shishtastakam, each verse can be elaborated so much. So unless we feel like that, we actually cannot chant. We cannot help others chant. Because if you don't have that bhava, and if you tell people, chant Hare Krishna, but the chanting will just be superficial, will not last long. The effect will not go on for long. But when you give that bhava, that's what our Guru Maharaj, Prabhupada, they give, and that's how we are able to chant for long. So many days we are chanting, so many years. And you see outside, those who are professional reciters, they recite Bhagavatam just 7 days in a week. After that, they can't read Bhagavatam. Because to read Bhagavatam, you need grace. It's not just then buy some money, you will get Bhagavatam, and then, oh, I have Bhagavatam, I'll read. No, that doesn't happen. Right. Yes, and then, yeah. Now we have to read only translations. Yes. Vrindavan Mataji, just read the translation, 8th verse.
Yes, Prabhu. Oh, it is our good luck that we have come again today under your protection by your presence, for your lordship rarely visits even the denizens of heaven. Now it is possible for us to look into your smiling face, which is full of affectionate glances. We can now see your transcendental form full of all auspiciousness.
Okay,
Hare
they are so
Krishna.
happy, Dwarkavasis,
Dwarka.
that they are, speaking such beautiful words. Prabhupada writes in the purport that the third line, yes, rather from second line, the Lord is never impersonal, but He is the supreme absolute personality of God, possible to be visited by devotional service face to face, which is impossible to be done even by the denizens of higher planets. So, of course, Prabhupada says that when there is a problem in the universe, all the demigods, along with the Brahmaji, they goes to the Shwetadip, and it's not that they will get the darshan of the Lord there. No, they will just hear the sound, because Lord is seen only by devotional service. And then that's how Prabhupada mentions that it is only by devotional service we can see Lord face to face. And then yes, 9th number. Usha Mataji, please read the 9th number verse. Translation only.
Hare Krishna, translation.
Yeah.
O lotus-eyed Lord, whenever you go away to Mathura, Vrindavan, or Hastinapur to meet your friends and relatives, every moment of your absence seems like a million years, O infallible one. At that time, our eyes become useless as if bereft of sun.
Okay.
Hare
So
Krishna.
another beautiful analogy given here, comparing Lord to the sun. And of course, there is one interesting observation by Chaitanya Prabhu. He says that, O lotus-eyed Lord, whenever you go away to Mathura. Now, why does Lord will go to Mathura? Because he is in Dwarka. These Dwarka vasis are none other than Mathura vasis, isn't it? They are transported back to Dwarka. So why it says that to Mathura? So of course then he says that actually Mathura means just not just Mathura, but Vrindavan is within the Mathura. So it is actually when Lord goes away to meet Vrindavan, which is in the Mathura, or Hastinapur to meet your friends. And of course then he elaborates that this confirms that Jiv Goswami in the Gopal Champu and Chakravarti Thakur in Sarad Darshini Tika, they say that Krishna actually did went to Vrindavan. So of course it is not visible to those who are not devoted. And of course this is very highly confidential part of, and of course these acharyas, because they themselves are the part of Lord Krishna's Leela, so they can highlight on that. They can tell you what exactly happened. So they say that Krishna did go back to visit Vrajavasis as he did promise them. And then Jiva Goswami, he tells that when Krishna met with the Vrajavasis in the Vrindavan, he sent all of them back to Golok Vrindavan, original Golok Vrindavan, spiritual world. And then another Krishna manifested, expanded from that Krishna, and that Krishna came back to Dwarka. Something like that. Yeah, and then about the analogy it is given here. Prabhupada says in the purport, now this is for us. Rasik part is we should not meditate so much unless before we have gone through, Siddhanta. We are all proud of our material senses for making experiments to determine the existence of God. But we forget that our senses are not absolute by themselves. They can only act under certain conditions. If there is no light, we can't see only. What's the use of your eyes? And we are proud of our eyes. If somehow your eyes are not working, then you may apply some glasses. You say, see, I am so smart. Now I have the specs. But when Krishna removes the sunlight, nothing will work. Your smartness, you will prove yourself foolish. Isn't it? And that's how we are stupid and foolish, actually. Yeah, Prabhupada gives, for example, our eyes, as long as the sunshine is there, our eyes are useful to a certain extent, but in the absence of sunshine, the eyes are useless. Yeah, and the Lord is compared to the sun. Without him, all our knowledge is either false or partial. The opposite of the sun is darkness, and similarly, the opposite of Krishna is Maya or religion. The devotees of the Lord can see everything in true perspective due to the light disseminated by Lord Krishna. Yeah. So actually, we can realize this when our eyesight has difficulty. Now everything is normal. We are not actually, while reading Bhagavatam, also we are so proud of our eyes. So that's why many times Radha Govind Maharaj also says that we have to enter the character of the Bhagavatam to understand the Bhagavatam. What the Dwarkavasis they are saying, they mean what they are saying. It's not just they are just repeating, just saying, oh Lord, you are so and so. No, they are actually, they mean what they say. Isn't it? Yeah, and then yeah. Prabhupada says in the last 3 lines. As we cannot see anything in the absence of the sun, so also we cannot see anything, including our own self, without the factual presence of the Lord. Without him, all our knowledge is covered by illusion. It means to say that everything that is connected to, us, happiness, or those things which we enjoy or relish, is only because of connection with the Lord. As soon as the connection of the Lord is removed, everything will appear to be unrealistic. That's how our body is. As soon as the soul is, soul leaves the body is useless actually. Similarly, if you remove Krishna's presence, everything is actually useless. And then, 10th verse. You may just read the translation of this verse. Yeah. Who would like to read? Venkatesh, can you read?
Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam. Oh Master, if you live abroad all the time, then we cannot look at your attractive face, whose smiles vanquish all our suffering. How can we exist without your presence? So, upon hearing their speeches, the Lord, who is very kind to the citizen and the devotees, entered the city of Dwarka and acknowledged all their greetings by casting his transcendental glance over them. Hare Krishna.
Yes. The gift of Lord Krishna is always transcendental glance. Not that he was there, okay, I have brought something from Hastinapur. Okay, take this gold, take this. Of course, that can be there, but we should always remember that the mercy of the Lord is transcendental glance, which will remove all our material existence. And then you will get the best of the gift, spiritual world. Prabhupada writes in the purport, Lord Krishna's attraction is so powerful that once being attracted by him, one cannot tolerate separation from him. Like the story of Dhanurdas, in the story of Ramanujarya. Once he got the darshan of Ranganath under the guidance of acharyas like Ramanujarya, not independent. Always we have to remember, it's not independent darshan. It is under the mercy and guidance of great devotees of the Lord. Then, from next day onward, he was always found there, always chanting and hearing in front of Ranganath. And he forgot his, girlfriend also, with whom he was so much attached before. Actually, Ramanujacharya said him, he said that this girl is so beautiful. I can't move away, I can't leave her, even for a second, not looking at her. Then Ramanujacharya told, if I give you something better than this, will you shift your, vision? He said, yes, why not? He was that sincere. Huh? So this is, see, attachment is one thing and sincerity is another thing. When we are attached, no reason will, give you, the chance to move away from that attachment. But when you are sincere in your purpose, sincere, okay, if I get better than that, I can definitely. And that's what he got. Of course, after that, both of them became devotees. Later, they served so nicely. There are many beautiful pastimes of Ramanujacharya, Dhanudas. And Prabhupada says, why this is so? Because we are all eternally related with him, as the sun rays are eternally related with the sun disk. And Prabhupada says the sun rays are molecular parts of the solar radiation. Thus, the sun rays and the sun cannot be separated. The separation by the cloud is temporary and artificial. As soon as the cloud is cleared, the sun rays again display their natural effulgence in the presence of the sun. What is that cloud? Cloud of ignorance. When that ignorance is removed by spiritual knowledge, and not just theoretical knowledge, but revelation within the heart by the sincere practice, then we can see the Lord. Prabhupada writes last 2 lines. Every one of us wants to remove the miseries of life, but we do not know how to do it. The solution is given here and it rests on us to assimilate it or not. Yeah, text number 11. Read the text number 11. Yeah, Vendalila Mataji, please read the translation. Verse number 11.
Oh, sorry, Prabhu. As Bhogavati, the capital of Nagaloka, is protected by the Nagas, so was Dwarka protected by the descendants of Vrishni. Bhoja, Madhu, Dashara, Araha, Kukura, Andhaka, etc., who were as strong as Lord Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So now a specific description of these. No, not now, but little later it will come. But here it is mentioning that all those personalities who are residing within Dwarka, Krishnas, Bhojas, Madhus, Dasharas, and all that. You can read the purport later. But we'll go to the next verse, number 12. Yeah, Raksha Mataji, please read the translation, verse number 12.
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. The city of Dwarkapuri was filled with the opulence of all seasons. There were hermitage, orchard, flowers, gardens, parks, and reservoir of water, breeding lotus flower all over. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you. Prabhupada's purport is again very illuminating here. Prabhupada says that perfection of human civilization is made possible by utilizing the gifts of nature in their own way. Not in our way. Now you will see later ahead. Prabhupada fourth line. Prabhupada says there is no mention of mills and factories supported by slaughterhouses, even in Dwarka, which are the necessary paraphernalia of the modern metropolis. And then Prabhupada writes further ahead. Yeah, the prosperity to utilize nature's own gifts is still there, even in the heart of modern civilized man. The leaders of modern civilization select their own residential quarters in a place where there are such naturally beautiful gardens and reservoirs of water. But they leave the common man reside in congested areas without parks and gardens, isn't it? All the bungalows of MLAs, MPs, all the ministers, they have all those facilities at the expense of poor, city dweller who is just cramped, within small, Prabhupada used to say pigeonholes. All the flats we say 5 BHK, 2 BHK, 1 BHK, Prabhupada used to say there are pigeonholes. And to get air, you have to apply air condition. To get light, you have to get the BMC lights. Everything artificial, nothing natural. And within that, we are expecting good, healthy body, healthy mind. How can that come? Not possible. Yeah, then he says, yeah, little ahead. It is understood that all the people dependent on nature's gift of fruits and flowers without industrial enterprises promoting filthy huts and slums for residential quarters. Advancement of civilization estimated not on the growth of mills and factories. Right? To deteriorate the finer instincts of the human being, but on developing the potent spiritual instincts of human beings and giving them a chance to go back to Godhead. Development of factories and mills is called Ugra Karma, or pungent activities, and such activities deteriorate the finer sentiments of the human being and society to form a dungeon of demons. Actually, what happens, these words, the finer sentiments, because the more you work with artificial things, the more you are surrounded by artificial things, the more you become artificial. The more you are connected with the nature, actually, the more sensitive you become. The more you are connected with the living, more you remain living. And the more you are connected with all these, gadgets, these are dead elements actually. All the, so I'm not here to condemn anyone. Whatever you are using or whatever you have, Prabhupada always says the best use of bad bargain. We have to apply that principle. But it is, always recommended that the more we live our life naturally, the more we can practice Krishna consciousness very easily. Like, if you take rest early in the night, you can easily get up early in the morning and you can chant very nicely, isn't it? And the more you delay your rest in the night, the more artificial you become. And then how can you expect that you will chant good rounds in the morning? Not possible. As soon as you are gone beyond 8 o'clock, the influence of mode of passion rises so much. It's practically difficult to chant attentive rounds. I'm not saying that you will not be able to, but the more chances of chanting attentive rounds is if you get up early, depending on your time place circumstance. Everyone has a different time place circumstance. Of course, the holy name can be chanted any time. It has no rules, no regulations, in the sense that no time place circumstances. But still, if we can get good time and place to chant, why not? Don't try to mess up the philosophy. Actually, sometimes we take benefit, and only we take benefit of those things which give license to us to suppose we are attached to something, then we will try to quote something from the scripture which actually is in favor of our attachment. That's how people sometimes do. Actually, this is wrong use of philosophy. Even Prabhupada said that. Prabhupada said that, but you have to see the time, place, circumstance. Why Prabhupada said that? Isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, it's already 8:58. I was to finish 20 verses of this chapter, but I will read the remaining purport of this part and then let's find and let's see later what happens. Yeah, the 607 page Prabhupada, we find here in the mention of pious trees. You can relate this very much. We find here in the mention of the pious trees, which produces seasonal flowers and fruits. The impious trees are useless jungles only. And Prabhupada says, and they can only be used to supply fuel in the modern civilization. Such impious trees are planted on the sides of the road. Actually, I always wonder, why don't they plant the fruit trees? There is one particular tree, that name is Australian barbel. That tree only, actually, the leaves are also not useful for, as a fodder. The wood is also not so much useful. Only they say it will give oxygen. The oxygen, anyways, any tree will give. So why not plant, mango trees? If you want, good, big trees which can give, good shade, why don't you plant the mango trees or jamun trees? So many, otherwise, what is that? Jackfruit trees, they're big and huge. They will give oxygen also. They will give fruits also. They will give good shade also. They're always a wonder for me. I have to ask someone that why they don't plant. Prabhupada also says here, in the modern civilization, such impious trees are planted. They are called impious because they don't produce any usable items, immediately useful, like fruits and flowers. Impious trees are those who will, just give thorns, or those do not produce any fruit or flower. Human energy should be properly utilized in developing the finer senses for spiritual understanding, in which lies the solution of life. Fruits, flowers, beautiful gardens, parks, and reservoirs of water with ducks and swans playing in the midst of lotus flowers, and cows giving sufficient milk and butter are essential for developing the finer tissues of human body. Actually, these are so important. Gardens, parks, to refresh our mind. To refresh our mind, you did not go to cinema, or you did not go for fishing or playing cards or video games. To refresh mind, you need to connect with the nature, what is natural. Then you will feel enlivened. As against this, the dungeons of mines, factories, and workshops develop demonic propensities in the working class. The vested interests flourish at the cost of the working class, and consequently there are several clashes between them in so many ways. The description of Dwarkadham is the ideal human civilization. So for this part of Krishna's Lila is very important for modern civilization. The part of Krishna's life that he spent in the Dwarka. And then when we understand Dwarka Lila nicely, then we can go to Vraja Lila. But what happens? People, first of all, they directly go to the 10th canto. Even within Vraja Lila also, they will go to the 10th canto. Not even Bal Lila. Let Krishna grow slowly, slowly. Why you want to capture him? Let Krishna and you, both you grow. Krishna will grow, you will also grow. in your consciousness evolved gradually. Then only you can realize and understand who Krishna is. Yeah, anyways, so this is actually we are supposed to complete everything. But yeah, I think
Prabhuji, any idea by when we have to complete? When we will have our...
we were supposed to complete last week only, no?
Yes, Prabhu, but then any revision, revised date, any revision in that? Because we have, at least I have no idea about that.
To complete the remaining verses, we need at least one class. I mean, we will fast forward, but we need at least one class. Even
Yeah,
if we
we
fast
have,
forward, still
I
we
think
need
there are
to-
39 verses and
yeah, we covered I think today 13 verses, right?
12 verses we have
12
to complete.
verses.
Another 27.
Yeah, one class will be sufficient of 2 hours.
Then
So
we will have 1 week gap, Prabhu. We'll get 1 week gap to complete our open
you
book.
know
and all.
one thing. I mean, you already have your questions, right, with you, question bank.
We have, Prabhu, but the thing is we wait for your, like when you share, we get another dimension also added to that.
Yeah, so you can do one thing. Whatever portion we have covered, you can start preparing for that.
Means
by that
open book questions we can
yeah,
start.
open, close, whatever. So by that calculation, whatever date your admin team will decide can be fixed now. Isn't it? I mean, you need not say that, okay, the portion is still, is incomplete. You need not take the excuse of this and,
We have no complaints, Prabhu.
No, I
We
mean,
are really.
your admin team may not, should not think that, that
Prabhuji,
syllabus.
one problem is that Deepdan is going now, starting na? 9th.
Yeah, 9th, Deepdan is going
So
to start.
all the devotees are busy with that. So
Okay.
before that,
Okay, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9th is Deepdan is going to happen. But suppose if we take one more class in the next week, say for example Wednesday, evening time, after 8 o'clock, say for example at 8 o'clock, your Deepdan will go until what? Here in Chopati we do from 7:30 to 8.
I think we need 2 sessions, na Prabhu? 2 sessions.
But
Like
we'll try to-
26 verses are there. If we take 13 also in a day, so 2 sessions are required.
I will try to fast forward. I mean, I could have, but I didn't do that. Because that will
Prabhuji, tentative exam date.
exam date, whatever now see, from my side, I will say that I am clear with the syllabus. Just one lecture is remaining.
Okay, Prabhuji.
That one lecture means, last, few verses of the last chapter. We have already covered 8th, 9th, 10th, 3 chapters we already covered. 3.5 almost. So you can
Yes,
start
Prabhuji.
preparing for 3.5 chapters, whatever syllabus you have got. And this one remaining lecture we can have here next week. I can take tomorrow also, but I already have class.
Exam will be after Deepdan.
Sorry?
Exam may be after Deepdan.
That you decide. Now I have left that everything up to you.
Hari bol.
Prabhu, next week, both the sessions, if we have Wednesday, Thursday, the way we have, then we can go at the normal pace. Just one more week.
Yeah.
na Prabhu.
Yeah.
We complete it and then we maybe, I don't know, I'm speculating a lot. Maybe we'll get another week to prepare for our open book and all that.
So you are
What happens now, Prabhu, because Kartik Mas, everybody starts preparing for Yatra and all that. So if we know the dates in advance, it gets little easier to book our,
yes.
like have our plans, materialize there in the form of accommodation and all that.
Yes. So anyways, wherever you may be in Vrindavan or anywhere, we can always connect on the Zoom. And you can spare 1 hour or 1.5 hour, and then we can discuss the remaining verses.
Wherever I may be, I create a material world.
So is that okay with Raksha Devi Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji, no problem.
So Deepdan you will have, but I'll just take one class in your
Sure, Prabhuji.
whole of the Kartik, and it will be even more auspicious to discuss in the Kartik.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you can take 2 classes. We love to hear because all our verses are so
Yes.
nice.
Who will be better, Prabhuji?
Yeah, yes, sure. So next we will meet.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay,
Actually-
Prabhuji.
Actually, we could
Yes,
have had
yes,
covered, but in between Radhashtami, Radhashtami came, right? And
Janmashtami, Radhashtami.
yeah, all the major
Janmashtami was
festivals,
also there, yeah.
major festivals of our ISKCON.
अभी भी दिवाली आ रहा है प्रभु दिवाली
Diwali is coming. Diwali is before Diwali we'll cover up. Don't worry.
Vrindan Mataji, our unit 4 will be after Deepdan.
oh
Starting.
Oh.
हाँ, Prabhu.
जय चलो we all can run around in dham
Yes, Prabhu Mataji. Yes.
Okay, then we'll
Uh,
see.
Prabhuji, I just wanted to, like yesterday, and we have read this, there was just reference to analogy. Uh, uh, most of the times we use, na Prabhu, like if we water the roots, then we are, water the roots means we compare it to service of Krishna.
Yeah.
Then everybody is satisfied. It's a very commonly used analogy. And then many times I come across this question wherein some Matajis, especially Matajis, they will say, oh, we are serving the Lord so nicely, but how come still we have problem with our husbands? So we are watering the root and still we are having the issues. Why are they not getting that feeling of satisfaction when we are doing this? Miss, I'm just sharing what I come across and what I have felt after that. You may please add and correct me.
Yes.
Uh, like I feel when we use this analogy of watering the roots, it's applicable only to the devotees. Like demigods are basically devotees; they are engaged in the service of the Lord. So when we water the roots, the nourishment reaches to all who are connected to the root.
Okay.
But if one is not connected, as generally we are separated part and parcel. So we are not connected, then that nourishment will not reach. Like suppose I'm watering a mango tree and somebody is standing there like a babool tree, then I may be watering the mango tree, but that nourishment will not reach him because that person is no longer connected to that.
Okay.
So is it a right understanding? Kindly enlighten me, Prabhu.
Yeah, see, of course, it has to be understood in two contexts for devotees, non-devotee, as you said.
Hmm.
Definitely for devotees, I mean, even for non-devotees, because everyone is actually connected to Krishna only.
Yes.
That connection may be temporarily not appearing visible, but still that connection is there.
Hmm.
So, one thing Maharaj says that it is a fact that we have to water the root of the tree, but that watering of the root of the tree is done by watering to the devotees.
Hmm.
Are you getting my point?
Yes.
So when you water, I mean, when you serve the devotees, Krishna is served.
Right.
Or another understanding can be, suppose you have taken a water to water the tree, but if that water, or suppose say for example you have taken some item to be offered to Lord, you are not going to directly offer that to the Lord. It will go through the via medium of devotees, isn't it? Are you getting my point or not? Not getting. What happened?
Prabhu, I'm not able to hear. In between, my connection was gone, I think.
Oh, we water the root by watering
Yes.
the devotees. I mean,
Yes. First,
our
that's
service
what
reaches the Lord
Hmm.
through the devotees. It's not that directly we are going to water the root.
Yes.
First of all, this should be clear.
Yes.
So, in case of devotees, it is obviously clear when we are serving the devotees. So that husband may be a devotee. Then
Generally, the problem arises when the two are on different planes.
yeah. So at that time, you have to take the different section of the Bhagavatam. See, everywhere Krishna has given, see, according to time, place, circumstances, we have to see the situation. So, of course, this is a philosophy, and Krishna does say in the Gita, Sridam Sarva Bhutanam. For some things to manifest or some things to, give us realization, we have to, give some time to Krishna. If Krishna has already said in the Gita that I am Srit, and that time Krishna didn't say that I am Srit only for devotees. He said Sarva Bhutanam.
Yes.
Sarva Bhutanam means there can be a non-devotee husband also and a devotee wife also. Isn't it? He's Sridam for everyone. So he may be arranging some situations for you so that you will go closer to him. It is not that immediately we have to justify, or come to the conclusion that we are watering the root. We are, chanting Hare Krishna as per the Bhagavad philosophy. Then our husband, they should get, be happy with us. That may not happen always.
Yes.
Why? Because then there is, different things applicable in different circumstances. It's not, and it is not that they are not getting satisfied. See, if you are not, devotee, then the situation could have been very, bad. It could have gone, very. I mean, suppose somebody is serving under a master, his fate will be different, and someone who is not serving under master, I mean to say someone who is Sanat and who is Anath. Just now, I think few verses back we read that verse, Sanat and Anath.
Yes.
So externally, it may appear that both are suffering, but their situation can be different if you see, in depth. Are you getting me?
Yes, Prabhu.
So in such situations, we have to have faith in Krishna that if he has said that he is Sarva Bhutanam, he is merciful, that if I am serving him, he will actually take care of me and take care of those who are connected to me. I am watering the root, so he will actually be satisfied, and he is satisfied. If he is not, if he was not satisfied, then situation would have, become even worse. But situation is not gone to that, level. It is still I mean, this is something you have to keep faith. Some things actually Maharaj always says, Radhanath Maharaj. He says that, what he was quoting the story of an Joe from the Bible. You have heard this story?
No, Prabhu.
Okay, so it is already 9:14. I have to chant, 8 more rounds to complete my Karthik upcoming quota. I mean, I already chanted 16 rounds, but then, but anyways. So in that story, Maharaj says that, that devotee who was devotee of the God from the Bible, his name was Joe. So one time Satan came to him. No, sorry, Satan went to God, and he said that, I want to test your devotee. He's very happy serving you. So God said, yeah, you can go and test him, but don't kill him. Don't, finish him. I mean, just give some test so that he will, you will, just get to know. So he comes and then he says that, initially, first time he comes and he was actually shepherd, had so many ships and all those things. So in first, what do you say, installment of taking back things, Krishna gives in installments and takes away also in installment. He takes away everything from him. Just like you heard the story of Avanti Brahman in the 11th canto. His all business, gets collapsed. His all, relatives, they reject him. That first happened to this Mr. Joe, who was the devotee of God. It's from Bible, so therefore no Krishna, God. So then God said, see, you did to him, all these things, but still he's chanting my name. He's very happy serving me. He says that I'm dependent on God. Satan said, I have not done anything till now. This is, nothing. Whatever I have done is, insignificant. I have just, taken, some business and, given some, some dishonor to him. But let me do something. After this, you will see how much dedicated devotee he is. The next time, Satan comes and he gives horrible disease, all the boils all over his body, extreme pain. Now see, it is one thing that your property, your wealth is taken away, but it is another thing when your body goes through that. The body is also kind of attachment, see, these are levels of attachment.
Yes.
So something is at the periphery, something is a little inner. So our relatives, wealth, everything, they even if it's gone, but you may feel, but still my body is there. I'm still healthy. I may be able to do something little more. You still have that kind of pride. So what happens is all the other devotees, they approach him and they say, "Oh Joe, you are very sinful. That's why you are suffering. Your past life reactions." He gets very angry at that time. He says, "What nonsense you are saying? How can I be sinful? Whole life I have dedicatedly served the Lord. I am a great devotee. I am so religious." Now see, this is just Maharaj was trying to highlight the same verse which Maharaj always tries to highlight. Pranadapi Sunichena Taradapi Saishnuna. He says that to be proud of your own religious, I mean, for us it may be to be proud of being a Hare Krishna devotee or being a devotee of the God is also itself is a pride. That I am so religious. How can this happen to me? So this usually happens when you are devotee and you expect that everything will go goody goody in your life. How can there be reversals in my life? If I am worshipping Krishna, I am watering the root. Why the leaves and branches and everything is not getting also water? Like in the case of your example you are giving, that those ladies are asking. So then actually what happens is that devotee Joe, he keeps rejecting what his friends they tell him, which actually fact. So finally he actually chastises the God also. Eventually. So that happens actually. Eventually we go to that level also. Not I mean so much, but kind of he says that, "Oh God, what did I do? I was so religious. I was so pious. Why did these things are happening to me? Why these people are saying that that I did this and that?" Then actually God appears in front of him and he chastises him heavily. He says that, "What do you think? Do you think that you know everything of your past life?" You got the answer? Do you know everything of your past life? Why do you feel that you are so religious, you are so pious? Do you know what your past, what all you have done?
Very true.
Then he comes to his senses. He says, "No, I don't know." Then actually he gets everything back. All his lost wealth, health, everything.
Actually, I added one more thing besides saying this. I also added to them that watering is it's an analogy, it's a symbol. But when we say watering, then what does it mean actually? That means following the instruction of the Lord. And it begins with the mood of service. And mood of service means first we follow his instructions by serving our immediate, like wife has to serve the husband.
Yeah.
So that way when she serves, it's taking care of his instructions. So that way also we are watering, not necessarily we have to do it in the, like, understand it in the gross way or by its plain surface meaning. So you do that part also, that is also serving, you are following his instructions. So it's then she was counter again, we are only spirit souls. I said we are spirit souls, but we have a body. So we have a dharma also, which is a varnashrama dharma. So follow that dahic dharma. Then slowly maybe things will happen. If Krishna wills, it will happen.
Yes.
That's what I shared, and I'm just sharing it with you. Hope it was okay.
Correct. That should be.
Your answers are very enlightening, Prabhu. It's really nice.
Yeah,
That's why I just share.
I'm just quoting from the Maharaj whatever I've heard.
Mm,
I mean, I don't
Thank
have
you
such
so
a kind
much.
of realizations, but it is one thing that when we hear all these personalities, all
Yes.
these great devotees, we actually
Mm,
get to know the unsolved mysteries I mean, these are, even though we may be a devotee for so many years, we may be chanting Hare Krishna, reading Bhagavatam and all that, but all our scriptures, they are not so, superficial.
Very right.
Philosophy is very deep.
Yes.
We need to understand them through acharyas only. Then we can get enlightenment through that. This is called actually enlightenment. Actually, what happens is we sometimes feel that unless I become fully self-realized, I can't practice Krishna consciousness. I mean, I am not full-fledged devotee. That need not happen necessarily. Just like Prabhupada said that if you follow the perfect, you become perfect. We just have to simply follow what they are saying and hear. Otherwise, it is difficult to penetrate into the mysteries of devotional service. Isn't it? So next time they ask you question, just quote this story. And when you quote this story, because see, this is the ultimate actually answer. Because there may not be sometime, you will not get answers for everything. But definitely there is a clarification of everything. I mean to say that there will be some questions for which there are no answers, for which you have to just tolerate and take it as a mercy of the Lord and move ahead. For some things, you will not get answers in life. Because that's the will of the Krishna. That's how Krishna desires, to go things in that way. Isn't it?
Prabhuji, that sloka, tattenu kampasu
Yes, yes.
sumukshmanam.
Yeah. Maharaj quotes that only. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Sumukshmana. Munjana evatma kritam vipakam tatvag.
Tadvag vibhube vididen namaste jive toyo mukti se taya bhav.
Yes. We have to approach in that mood only. And actually, eventually we have to, because a lot of things, will go against us in our life. A lot of things. Things will not happen in a way we want. Things will happen in a way Krishna wants, and we have to submit to that. And as we submit, we'll be blissful, peaceful, and happy. Although it's a very painful surgery, because our ego will not accept that. Like that, for the devotee Joe, it was difficult to accept that he was so sinful in his past. Nobody will accept that I was so sinful that I am suffering my past deeds. Even the example you quoted for that Mataji, if you tell her the story, if she is a little new, she will live Krishna consciousness. You have to tell in a way, in a very systematically and with proper scriptural understanding. Otherwise, people will misunderstand. Even as a devotee, we are not able to understand. We are not actually we are understand, but not able to accept, because our ego is so high that we can't understand and accept that I was so sinful and I am suffering the reactions of my life. So this is the last point where you have to come, where you will not get answers. You have to just tolerate. Even I have my own, family members' cases.
Very true. Very true.
That I do have some family members. They keep asking me. They are devotees actually, but they suffered a lot in their family life. They're very nice devotees, initiated, chanting for last decades. But when they come with such questions that I am initiated, I am trying to chant, I am following four regular principles, everything, but still my husband is like that, or my wife is like that. What do I give them answer? What answer should I give them? Should I tell them that you are not watering the room properly? If I say that, then they will smash me. They are saying I am chanting. I am every day chanting more than 16 rounds, reading Bhagavatam, serving needs, everything I am doing, but still these things are happening to me. Then at that point, this is the only answer. Maharaj actually says, we should be humble enough to accept and admit that I am nothing in front of Krishna.
Yes, and complete faith.
Yes, Sridham Sarvabhita.
Faith that whatever he plans is best for
Actually,
us.
what happened? One of my relative like that. I told her, this is the thing actually. And after few months, she could actually relate, and she said that actually all these things happened, and because of them, I could take more shelter of Krishna. I could go more close to Krishna.
Yes.
She could realize eventually, if these things would not have happened, it was difficult for her to approach Krishna, because you don't get that humility and you get don't get that mindset to approach Krishna. So sometimes Krishna will orchestrate your life events in such a way that he will I mean, for Prabhupada, he actually forced him to take renounced order, literally
Yes.
forced. Prabhupada didn't want to take sannyas so soon. Actually, he wanted to preach through Gaudiya Math and earn good money and preach through that, but he did
Yes.
force. So Krishna is like that, what to do?
Prabhuji, difficulties is also mercy of Lord.
Yeah, but to say now it is so easy, but when difficulties
Yes.
come,
Yeah.
that time to remember all the classes which we have delivered, all the classes which we have heard, all the guidelines and suggestions which we have given to the devotees, it's extremely difficult to remember. I mean, I can relate in my own life, so high and a lofty exalted philosophy we speak, but when it comes to us, it's extremely painful and difficult to accept the situation, the reality of life. But we have to go through that, and we are actually preparing for that, through discussing all these things. Eventually, we are preparing. The more we discuss these things and more we repeat and listen, our mind gradually is getting prepared to accept the reality that yes, some situations
Very true.
arrange in such a way that we have to just chant his holy name. We can't do anything at that time. Just
Yes.
just like Prabhupada
Yeah.
chanting, just chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram,
Ram 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 Hare Hare.
and then Krishna
Very
will,
true.
then Krishna will appear on the lotus of your heart permanently.
I think for that also we have to take his shelter only.
Yeah, that only. Krishna wants that only, no?
Yes.
Something like that. So sometimes no answer. Just chant Hare
I
Krishna.
think this course, Prabhu, this Bhakti Vaibhav course or Bhakti Shastri, whatever we have done, every verse, it should make us little more mature and closer to Krishna.
And
Otherwise, what will we do with the degree, Prabhu? The
yes,
paper is not going to take us to back home.
yes, and don't worry, Krishna. For that purpose, Krishna will give you different tests and circumstances. So
Very
one
true.
is your written exam and all that, but that is not actual exam. The exam will come. Don't think
That is tougher, much tougher.
yeah, and Krishna will say, even more tougher test to those who are giving lectures.
Prabhu, here mercifully you all have shared the questions, but Krishna doesn't share his questions.
Yeah. Actually, Krishna,
That test
yeah,
contains very unexpected.
yeah, Krishna has shared the question actually, but the form of the question will change.
Yes.
Krishna has already shared that, there are only two options, Krishna or Maya, what he will choose. Always the question
Yes.
is only one question. Every circumstance of life, you want Krishna or Maya, Krishna or Maya. Only two options, one question. Two options, one question. And we have to repeatedly tick Krishna, 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 but actually that's not so easy. Many of the times we'll tick
But
Maya,
but
Maya.
one thing, like what I have always felt is like somehow I had little taste for Srimad Bhagavatam, and I have never missed Bhagavatam classes in the temple prior to my marriage and all that. And I remember there were many. Everybody has to undergo difficult situations, and I know those verses and whatever those speakers used to share. It used to haunt my mind whenever I would undergo something. It
Yeah,
would haunt me, and that haunting actually strengthened me.
yes. So therefore, hearing is so important actually.
Yes,
Hearing is the
very true.
basis of our spiritual life. Without hearing, actually, all other things we may do, but that will not, nourish us unless we have strong hearing and chanting. So that's the
And
most
examples
definite
like
examples.
when especially I derive a lot of inspiration from the characters of Pandavas. They had to undergo so
Yeah,
much that I feel very puny. Arey, ours is nothing. They had to undergo so much, and still they could remember the Lord in every situation.
yeah,
So it's actually doable.
yeah. They
So
are,
we have these examples in our Shastras and Bhagavatam, and then devotees' own sharing and experience. It's so nice. I should really thank you and all the devotees who are present here. Prabhu. Thank you for your association and enlightenment, and other devotees who are here to give their
I am
association.
grateful to all of you that I am able to, study something, taking the excuse of classes and all that.
जय हो
Yes, Hari
हरे
Hari. Okay,
कृष्ण
we'll see you next
Srila
week.
Prabhupada ki jai ho.
जय
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha
सकलपुत्रभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो
पतितानां
वैष्णवेभ्यो
पावनेभ्यो
नमो नमः
Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki.
वृंद की जय
Jai.
श्रील प्रभुपाद
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Jai.
Dandavat pranam.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dhanavad.